All right, guys, happy Monday here. Good afternoon. Oh boy, mixed day yesterday for sure. I'm gonna start with Maryland. If you did not watch that game, it was a really, really good game. I would bet Maryland 100 times out of 100. Same game, same situation. I really, really love the way they played yesterday. Derek Queen was great on the offensive end. He just could not stop their big guy, made too many little hook shots, and Purdue pulled away. It was 62-57 Maryland. And that was a 10-0 run. It turned into an 18-5 run. Almost got lucky with a cover with a rainbow three at the buzzer, and then Queen fouled. So I couldn't even really be bitter about it as I lost by a point because Purdue had it for the last 2 minutes. But Maryland's really, really, really good. Queen, I felt like the whistle wasn't going his way, and he was a little nervous about picking up fouls. And Reese was out of the game. So interior wise, the defense just it wasn't great down the stretch, and Purdue made a lot of threes. So credit to Purdue, but I came away being like, man, I love Maryland. Just not happy that they cost me a winning day yesterday, as they did not cover, and they certainly didn't win the game. But anyway, I'm really excited about Maryland. Let's see what else before I get to football. Tyler O'Neill's Oriole. If you want positive take on it, you got to go somewhere else. I don't have a positive take. I'd rather have Santander. I certainly rather have James McCann than Gary Sanchez. So I'm just not going to talk about it right this second because I'm not positive about it. So that's that. Anyway, let's go through all the games. It was a really good day for me if I would have just stayed away from these two team like I swear my record has got to be absolutely miserable when I do these team total points. It's just miserable. It is. Jaguars, we'll start with that. Jaguars somehow win the game with 10 points yesterday. Oh, okay, just overthought that. Just take the Jags plus the 3.5 points. Would have been a lot easier. I didn't do that. So that was a losing bet. And then the Vikings destroyed the Falcons in the fourth quarter. So it was a little tighter besides the 42-21 thumping, but the Falcons couldn't score at the end of the game, but they got a half more point than I needed them to. The teaser worked as the Vikings destroyed the Falcons. Not saying the Falcons are done because they're technically a game behind the Bucks and they own the tiebreaker. But man, Kirk Cousins is not very good. I don't know if he needs another year. He's a little older to need another year to rehabilitate. But he just does not look good. He makes Aaron Rodgers look mobile. Tough loss for the Falcons. They do get the Raiders this week, and the Bucks get the Chargers. So we'll see if they can turn around. The Vikings are just rolling. Here they are. They have a tough schedule coming up after Chicago. They get Chicago, I believe, on Monday night. Yeah, both games are Monday night. So Falcons are playing at the Raiders, and the Bears are at the Vikings. Vikings got to win that game to keep pace with the Lions. We'll get the Lions in a minute. But yeah, Vikings roll. Jags beat the Titans, just miserable situation with both of those franchises. And speaking of miserable, we're not going to spend too much time here on the Saints. Saints beat the Giants, so the Saints are still alive. Good for them. That was a perfect game for the Ravens. The perfect game for the Giants to play for the Ravens coming up because now the Giants will be even more tired and defeated and just feeling bad about themselves. And they had a chance to win. The defense, you go from Derek Carr to Lamar Jackson. I expect the Ravens to kill them. I think I saw a spread all the way up to 14.5 points. I wouldn't doubt it. Ravens should roll. The Giants are completely cooked. Drew Lock started the game just miserable. Then they found a way to get back in it. So they're done. The Saints get a home game against the Commanders this week. The 1 o'clock games, by the way, are terrible. Look at the 1 o'clock games and then go look at the 4 o'clock games. Works out great for Ravens fans. Get to watch the 1 o'clock Ravens, and then I feel like all the good games are at 4 o'clock, with maybe the exception of Dolphins Texans. But Commanders Saints is a sneaky good 1 o'clock game. Saints still alive. They play good defense. Commanders coming off a bye, so that's something to check out. The Dolphins are alive as they beat the Jets. Tua just wasn't very good, but they found a way to win because the Jets don't know how to manage the clock at the end of the game. Man, that was just all right. I promise from now on, if I analyze anybody's clock management, I'll make sure I don't sound like a jackass 10 minutes after the fact. And I know whether or not the clock is moving. That was literally the worst mistake I've ever made as far as like Anyway, no excuses. But the Jets managed the clock. I'm talking about the Lions game on Thursday with the Packers as I just fucking buried Campbell when meanwhile he didn't do anything wrong. Anywho, the Jets could not run out the clock. Left enough time for the Dolphins to come down and get the field goal. Game goes overtime, predictably. Dolphins go down, get the touchdown, game's over. But yeah, Adams runs out of bounds. Rodgers gets sacked, so they get their field goal, but then they give a bad kick return. The Jets are just bad. It's just bad juju, bad karma. I think the Jets are playing the Jags this week. It's just a joke of a season for the Jets. They are absolutely miserable. Whereas the Panthers, even though they lost again, they're not miserable. Bryce Young's actually pretty good, so good for them. Looks like they have a quarterback. They should have beat the Eagles by. I mean, they really had them. Leggett drops their rookie receiver drops a touchdown pass. Panthers are right there. Eagles, it was kind of predictable. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's always easier after the fact, but the Eagles have a little bit of a letdown to say the least. They couldn't get the offense going. AJ Brown's complaining after the game. Eagles Steelers this week is I don't know if it's a game of the week because Bills are playing the Lions, so it can't be game of the week, but it's damn close. It's gonna be a great game. Eagles and the Steelers. Eagles are right there. That's kind of the game that, even though they're not happy about it, if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm pretty happy. Just getting the win, knowing not every game is going to be easy. Panthers aren't bad. Be careful betting against Panthers down the stretch. Browns are bad. That's confirmed. The Steelers are trying to give the Browns a chance to cover. Browns just can't make a field goal, killing all the momentum. They're just such a bad franchise. They'll probably make the mistake of getting rid of the head coach when he's actually probably the best thing they got going for him, Stefanski. But they just Steelers are awful to start the game. Browns couldn't capitalize, and that was that. Steelers just methodically get them. So Cleveland's cooked. Steelers. I think the biggest question with Cleveland is, I guess they got to get a quarterback. I don't know what they're doing. They're just such a mess. That franchise is in a terrible spot, and Pittsburgh's head to the playoffs. So game I got right, even though the Bucks tried to give the game away. The Bucks beat the crap out of the Raiders because the Raiders couldn't take advantage of anything that the Bucks tried to do. Bucks played sloppy and still won by 2 touchdowns. Goes to show you the Bucks are really good. To me, that's if the Bucks can win this week, they're going to win the division. They're at the Chargers, the Cowboys the following week, then the Panthers, then the Saints. So they close out the year 3 easy games. If they can beat the Chargers, I think the Chargers are really, really, after last night, they're beat up. I love Tampa. I love the way they play. Bucky Irving barely played yesterday. Their star rookie running back. They just didn't play great. They still have a bunch of injuries. Guys coming back soon down the stretch. Watch out for Tampa. Tampa destroys the Raiders. Bet against the Raiders. Keep betting against the Raiders. And I don't know if the Cardinals are done, but man, they sure looked dead. They just could not hang with Seattle yesterday. Seattle's without Kenneth Walker. That's why I couldn't pull the trigger with them. But it looked like the Charbonnet guy, their backup running back. I don't know. He was fantastic yesterday. He was a fantasy killer if you had him. Cardinals could not hang with Seattle. Seattle's defense. This is why I was high on Seattle before the season. McDonald is cooking over there. And now we get tested. If you're a Seattle guy, you get the Packers at home on Sunday Night Football. You got the division lead. It's yours for the taking. But anything can happen with 4 games down the stretch, and they still got to play the Vikings. They got to play the Bears. They got to play the Rams. They have a tough schedule to finish out. Seattle does, so they should be 9-4 instead of 8-5. They lost at least 2 or 3 games earlier in the year. They probably should have won, but they're making up for it here by winning a tough one at Arizona. Cardinals are a really tough spot. They get the Patriots at home next week, so they can still win out and probably get in the playoffs. So they're not completely dead, but 3 straight losses. Geno's good. Seattle's good. Seattle's like they just don't have any weaknesses. If they don't turn the ball over, they manage the clock well. I like Seattle. I like them to beat the Packers this week at home, Sunday Night Football. And the Niners got that one right. It's like I got these games right yesterday and somehow ended up 5-7 thanks to Chargers props and Maryland not covering. But anyway, the Niners rolled. I saw that coming from a mile away because Caleb Williams just isn't a team guy. Of course, he has good numbers at the end of the game when no one cares. No one's pressuring him. He doesn't have to make checks. He just doesn't do anything that's winning football. That's why I said Brock Purdy. I'd rather have him 100 times out of 100, Purdy over Caleb Williams. Maybe the changes when Caleb Williams grows up. Maybe he needs to fail, be humiliated, and then get going. I don't know. I just think he just doesn't have team qualities. He's like a swimmer or a boxer. That's why I tell the kids when they, the kids I coach, when they don't play as a team or they get frustrated, I always introduce them to individual sports. And, I got a couple in particular that I'm like, you're more than welcome to try out for the swimming team, even though we don't have one, or the boxing team, or, pick a sport. You want to play individual tennis, ping pong, but if you're going to play football or basketball, you got to be just as happy for other people's success. You got to do the little things. Caleb Williams does not do the little things. So if you like him, I think you got to reevaluate. So the Bears get rolled. The Niners are, the Niners are absolutely just completely impossible to figure out because if they're playing their best, I mean, they're the best team in the NFC, but they have so many injuries and you just don't want to invest in them because you feel like you've tried it 5 different times. They're going to play the Rams this week on Thursday night. Do or die game for the Niners. They're home. Should be a great game. Can't be better than what the game was yesterday between the Bills and the Rams. Holy moly, was that a great game. The ultimate, thank God, if you had the over in that game because that was fun. Josh Allen, his numbers aren't as good as Lamar's if you really dive into all of them. I think Lamar still has better numbers, but apparently Josh Allen's still the MVP. Even though they lost yesterday, he was great. Puka's great. He's my favorite player. I don't know why I just don't bet his over props every week. He is so good. Stafford, the Rams and the Niners playing this week, they're like the same team. Like the best version of them, especially offensively, they're like unstoppable. So they're going to play Thursday night. They both are not making the playoffs. Will one of them make it? Maybe, maybe not. Should be a great game. The Bills had room for error, but they really got to get that 1 seed, I think, to feel great about going into the playoffs. Now they're 2 behind the Kansas City. Still can catch them, but tough loss for Buffalo. Tough loss. It depends on how you want to look at it with the Bills. Is that a flashing red signal that they couldn't stop the run? It's one thing not to stop Puka, but the way the Rams were able to run the ball, not a great sign for Buffalo. This is like whatchamacallit, deja vu, Groundhog's Day, whatever the right cliche is with the Chiefs. It's like the same thing every time they play. Somehow they win. This time the ball goes off the freaking goalpost and then goes in. But the Chiefs win 19-17. First with my bets, Disley. I mean, I'm not making excuses that they lose. But Disley, the tight end, gets hurt. He catches the ball right before the half, so I'm like happy. I'm like, all right, he's about halfway to his props. And then somehow he gets hurt, and then the other tight end, the backup tight end, gets like 25 catches, it felt like, in the second half. He's just wide open all the time. I'm like, that should be Disley. Gus Edwards, the Chargers, I'm glad they freaking lost because they wouldn't give the ball to Edwards down the stretch. His last run was 10 yards. Give the ball to the other guy. He only gets 10 carries, lose by half a yard. Oh, boy. Gus is a fourth quarter guy. Got to give him the ball in the fourth quarter. Anyway, didn't do that. Didn't help that the Chiefs just kept Chargers off the field, even though they weren't going to run the ball anyway on the final drive. So Chiefs win. How the Chiefs win? They win because they just play situational football better than any team besides the Patriots during the Brady years that at least I can think of. It's certainly just perfect situational football. The 3rd and 7 they get that. They know when to take the clock down. They just do everything the right way. And the Chargers, I felt like this is why, if you don't love Greg Roman, last night is a perfect example. The Chargers just could not get rhythm going on offense. It felt like it just could not get any rhythm going. But to be fair to Roman, Herbert missed at least 2 wide open touchdowns. One in particular in the second half, the guy was wide open. When Herbert's cooking, he's really good. If they just would have kept the Chiefs spread out, I feel like Herbert would have gone back down the field, but he insisted on doing what he does, Roman, and Chiefs got to him. Chiefs win. Chiefs got a crazy schedule, just like the Ravens. They both have easy games this week. Giants for the Ravens, Browns for the Chiefs. And then the Chiefs play the Texans and the Steelers in back-to-back weeks, and the Ravens play the Steelers and the Texans. So a lot going on, a lot to figure out. Whew, deep breath. What do we like tonight? I like Dallas because I think Bengals are done. Everybody winning in the AFC yesterday kind of puts the Bengals, I think, just in a bad mood. And I feel like the Bengals just won't play great. And Cowboys played well. They have extra rest coming off Thanksgiving. They've won 2 in a row. 5 points seems like too much. So that's my take on that. I'll get the bets out later. Not the best week, not the best 2 weeks in a row. Looking to be better, that's for damn sure. Appreciate everybody sticking with me. Hopefully, you guys had a good week. Primarily favorites won, especially those 6 point spreads. So if you got cute there, it wasn't good. But if you just rode the chalk, that was good. See you guys in the morning. J Mart will be with me. We'll do college football, break down all those games, and that's that. So good luck tonight, guys. And yeah, if you need positive Orioles coverage, probably should go somewhere else for right this second. Yeah. Anyway, see you guys.